One of the most selfless decisions that you're ever going to make as a woman who wants kids. I'm speaking to the women who want kids because I know that there are women who are child free and they don't want kids. This is not for you. If you are a woman who wants kids, one of the most selfless, life altering and important decisions you're ever going to make is who's going to be their daddy. That's not a decision you make based on who you love or based on who you want. It's a decision you make based on who loves you. If that man you're dealing with, or that man you're exchanging bodily fluids with, is not someone that makes you feel happy or makes you feel whole, or someone that you can entirely rely on, it would be very dumb of you. I'm sorry if you're already pregnant, but it will be very dumb of you to proceed to sire kids with said man. Because, before you decide to have kids, or before you bring forth kids into the world, and if you're considering to have a co-parenting relationship with that person, whether you're living under the same roof or not, or whether you're in a relationship or not, as long as you're intending to have that man involved in your kids' lives. Because I understand that in this day and age, there are women who just want a sperm donor. Just give me your sperm and get away from me. It's not like they're looking for a long-term relationship or looking for they want you to play daddy or anything. They're those kinds of arrangements. So I'm speaking about people, if you're looking for a man who is going to be like part of the upbringing of the child, just sit and ask yourself how that person makes you feel. Does that person make you feel safe? Does that person make you feel validated? Do they make you feel seen? Do they make you feel loved? All these things. If the opposite is true, then hold up. Because ask yourself, if that person, the emotions that person makes you feel, would you be okay with your child experiencing those emotions on a daily basis? Will you be okay with your child feeling the way that person makes you feel every single day? Because chances are, if he is unreliable to you during the time that you're dating, chances are he's going to be the exact same way to the child. If he's abusive to you in any form, in any kind of way, whether it's financially, physically, verbally, however, if he's abusive to you, chances are he is going to be abusive to your child. If he is narcissistic to you, chances are he is going to be the exact same way to your child. So just sit down and ask yourself, how does this person make me feel? If he makes you feel insecure, if he makes you feel less than, whatever emotion it is that he makes you feel, ask yourself if you are okay with your child feeling like that every single day of their lives. And then whatever answer that comes to your mind, make your decision based on that. This is not a decision you make based on, oh, but I love him, oh, but he is cute, oh, but it goes way beyond that. A good dad is literally one of the best gifts you will ever give to your kids. Because you as an individual, if it's a relationship, you can always change. You can always change a man. Like, you not change a man as in change a man, but change him, like get another one, get a new one. There are so many. Men are so many, and men don't have standards. You can always get with whoever you want. You can always change a man. You can always swap a man. But your kids can never change their daddy. Your child, that is always going to be your child's father. Whatever it is you do, that is always going to be your child's father. So make that decision with that part of it, that information at the back of your mind. Someone who is always like nagging you, or who is so critical of you, like he's always critiquing everything you do, everything you wear, everything you say, chances are they're going to be the exact same way to your kids. So regardless of how much you love the person, or how much of a future you have envisioned for yourself with that said person, this is a decision you make without thinking about you. Don't even put your emotions or your feelings on the table. They have nothing to do with that. Make that decision based on the character of that person, because it is a long life commitment. It's a lifelong, It's a lifelong commitment. You cannot just wake up tomorrow and say you're no longer this person's father. Like, it does not work like that. Other than the challenges of motherhood or challenges of having a child, motherhood is supposed to be a very enjoyable experience. As in, it's an experience that words cannot even begin to describe. It's a fulfilling experience. Words cannot even begin to describe. But can you imagine that there are people intentionally got into the phase of motherhood? It's not like it was just an oops baby, or they didn't have a choice, or they didn't have money for abortion. No, they intentionally made the decision to have these children, or to have that child. But now, the only thing that went wrong was the baby daddy or the father of the child. That father of the child is torturing these women, like, is torturing you. Can you imagine? That father that you picked is torturing you so much that you cannot even enjoy motherhood. Motherhood on its own is frustrating. Every day you wake up, you're frustrated. Every day you wake up, you're just stressed. You're anxious. You're not happy. You're panicking. Can you imagine living like that for the rest of your life? Because that man that you picked, I'm sorry to say, but you actually picked the man. And I do not want to seem ignorant of the fact that there are people that actually change after childbirth. I don't want to be ignorant of that fact. I acknowledge that. That is very possible, and it actually happens. I acknowledge it. But chances are, okay, more often than not, how that person treats you when you're dating, how that person shows up for you when you're dating, how that person behaves when you're dating, they're not going to change much. They are not going to change much. And if you look at it later on, you're going to notice that there were signs, but you probably did not, you did not clock it. You probably did not think much about it, but there were signs. If you're dealing with a man who is not reliable, or if you're dealing with a man who does not keep their word, like, that man will tell you, I'll pick you up at 1, for example. I'll pick you up at 1, and they don't show up at all. And you're the one to reach out to them and ask them what happened, and they're like, I'm sorry, something came up. They don't even have the decency to apologize beforehand. You're the one that will still reach out to them for an explanation. If you're dealing with that kind of person, or probably someone who makes plans and they never see it through, someone who makes promises, they have words, like, they speak big, they talk big, they make plans, but they never fulfill any of them. If you're dealing with that kind of person while you're dating, it is actually dumb to think that they're going to change once you give them kids. That is the kind of father that man is going to be to your children. And as unfortunate and as sad as that is, it is the truth. That is the kind of man that is going to tell your child they're going to show up for their dance practice, or they're going to show up for their AGM meetings, or they're going to take them to the park, or they're going to take them to the museum, just making big promises. And then the kid is expectant, the kid is waiting, the kid is excited, and then that never happens. So all your life, you're going to just be there overcompensating or making up to your kids for the promises that their father did not keep. Is that the kind of life you would want for yourself? Because that is going to be the role that you'll have to play to unbreak your child's heart. You're always going to be, utakuna shona. You will be fixing together the heart that their father broke, or the heart that their father breaks. That is a life that I wouldn't wish upon anyone. That is a life that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. So I say this to say, if you want kids, like, you know that you want kids. I'm speaking to people that are not pregnant yet. But if you want kids and you have already identified who is going to be their father, you have to think clearly and see how that person treats you, how that person shows up for you, how that person, how that person makes you feel, and replace yourself with your child. Would you be okay if your child experiences this every single day? If you're going to be okay with it, then I wish you the very best. But if not, do not live the rest of your life regretting. Do not live the rest of your life wishing that you would have chosen better or you would have done better. Or do not live the rest of your life fixing your children's heart, or it's not something that. And to be completely honest, I do not understand people who claim that they cannot leave their kids in the care of their partners. What do you mean? At you're a man, you cannot change your child's diapers, you cannot give your child a bath, you cannot cook for your child? What do you mean? Alafu, you find a woman will say something like that, or maybe a woman would say, even when you're sick, your man does not take care of you. When you're sick, your man cannot make a decent meal for you. When you're sick, your man cannot just keep the house clean and tidy. Alafu, you go ahead to have kids for that same guy. What do you expect? What do you expect? It's a very unwise decision, because that is someone that is going to put the whole baggage on your head, and for the rest of your life you're the only person, you'll be the active parent. Because there are people who are single parents in a marriage, or there are people who are single parents in a relationship, single parents in a union. Mind you, they had this kid together and they decided upon it together. It's not like she just got pregnant on her own. She did not get pregnant on her own. Both of you sat down and decided that you wanted kids, but you cannot show up for your own kids. That is something that I would never understand, to be honest. What do you mean your child would be playing and they get themselves dirty and you cannot give them a bath because you're a man? You don't know how to do those types of things. It's not cute, because some of them think it's cute, some of them think it's masculine. It is not. It is really not. Personally, I wouldn't deal with that crap. I wouldn't deal with a man who cannot just be a father, cannot be a dad. Like, I cannot deal with that kind of thing, and I wouldn't wish any woman to ever have to deal with that kind of thing. Motherhood on its own is difficult. Motherhood on its own is very challenging. I wouldn't want to imagine a woman who is doing it all alone, and they have a partner, but the whole baggage of motherhood is on your head. I wouldn't imagine how that feels. That must really suck. It must really suck. So if you have not made the decision yet, think very well about it. See you on my next one. I'd like to hear what you think about this. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you have not already. Goodbye.